that he is in fact with us. Okay. All right. So in a moment, we should take that card off screen, and you'll see that this week it's John and myself. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Stephen.
How are you? How are you
I'm
today?
all right. I don't know
Good.
what's happened to my XSplit.
Oh, you're coming and going. Okay. Anyway, welcome to the show, and this is Blabbing for Britain, episode 290. 10 to go to 300.
Oh, good gosh, it's frightening, isn't it?
It is. That's 5 years and 30 weeks of Blabbing for Britain. Soon we'll get to show 300, and we might even have a party. Well, that's if Peter's not.
Party.
That's if Peter's not out driving his van. Did you watch Peter's video yesterday?
Some of it, not all of it. It did go on for a while. I didn't see any dolphins. That's the main thing.
No, I was there for the duration. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, guys. How are we?
Morning.
Okay, it's a bit grey down in Wiltshire.
It's gorgeous here.
Right,
it's very nice here as well. I can hear echoes. I'll come back in, shall
I? Okay. Well, no, you that's got the echo.
Am I echoing?
You are echoing, Steve.
Go away. Shall I come back?
Yes, please. Okay. If you can hear the echo, it's not you.
All right. Okay, doke. And I can't hear an echo now either.
No. We didn't have one until Stephen came in. Right. Okay. So Stephen's back, and the echo's back.
I can't hear an echo.
You will in a minute. Technical problems.
Oh, yes. Echo.
We've got an echo.
I know what it'll be.
Good. That would be helpful. Testing. No, it's worse. Say good morning to. Right, okay, we're back now. And say good morning to Chris, who's saying hello, Stephen and John. And then we have, I think we might be okay this time in a second. Corinda, I am live also. You seem to go live when we go live, Corinda. Is there something in it? And over to Chris, and Chris is talking about, yes, there's an echo. Right, okay. So I know this time there is no echo. And eventually there will be 3 of us on screen plus a picture.
Hello. No echo.
Yeah, that's it. No echo.
Echo.
There you go. Are you on your iPad or Mac or?
The Mac, I've switched off my wireless speaker, which I think.
Okay. So morning, Chris. Good morning, Corinda. And we said where we are. Okay. On the topics of the day, where would you like to start?
Number 1.
Let's start at the beginning. I'm going in reverse order. Cryptocurrency heist hacker returns 260 million in funds.
Is that true, or is it a Daily Mail story?
It's a true story. He borrowed 600 million, and he's returned 260 million. So he's still 340 million in profit. He's actually written about his escapades, saying that the people hosting the cryptocurrency servers had vulnerabilities in their system, and it looks like they did. They are still hosting, obviously, many hundreds of millions, if not thousands of millions of dollars of cryptocurrency, and they were hackable, which makes you think if one firm can be hackable, are others hackable too?
Oh, careful with that talk, young man. You'll change
I know.
the
I'm just.
share price, or whatever the hell. I don't understand cryptocurrency. I must admit. I just don't get this. You know, it's all based on a calculation, isn't it? Of so many prime numbers or something. But what's the point? Where's the value?
I don't know. I mean, back in the day, I joined in the search for extraterrestrials by loaning my computer overnight, and calculations were, and I'm sure we would, if I'd carried on, we might have found extraterrestrial life, but I stopped.
The search for SETI.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's,
my goodness, that's in the that was in the 90s, mid-90s.
It could be. I mean, that's the technology is the same though. You're actually number crunching on somebody else's behalf, and your computer is part of a network actually looking for solutions to problems. And when you find a solution, you create a coin. It's all a bit science fiction, really, isn't it?
Well, it is, because let's say you spent, what is it, like half a gigawatt of energy to produce this bit of code.
Yeah.
Where is the value?
Well, it's first of all, I mean, it's not very green, is it?
Oh, no. I mean, Elon Musk caused a bit of a kerfuffle a while back because he said that certain coin wasn't very environmentally friendly, and so the price of crypto went down. What's the big change? 30% or whatever. And then he came back. He said, "Oh, but there is a way to do it in a eco-friendly way."
Right. So we're just cryptocurrency may be vulnerable to hacking. Right.
You're a brave man, you are.
Corinda's saying, "Yep, today is a special one. This is the MXI new microphone coming out." Okay, thank you, Corinda. I'll take a look. And that was Corinda again, and Corinda is saying hello to Chris. All good. So currencies. Right. Okay.
Can we talk about Prince Andrew? Oh, maybe not.
Well, most certainly you can. I didn't put the headline in, but anything we can talk about, anything really.
It's a horrific situation to have no voice. He can't say anything, can he? Because he's not previously, and it was a cluster. I don't know. Sorry. I'd raise it because it's such a desperately, sad's the wrong word, but my God, he's in trouble.
Well, he has been. He's going to be. He's not being sued. He's actually being taken. He's a legal
civil suit. It's a civil suit.
Yeah.
In New York.
He's got to answer it, hasn't he?
He
at some point.
He has, yes, he has, because if he doesn't, it becomes illegal. It becomes a crime, not a crime of contempt of court, that sort of thing in the UK. And that's when it gets.
I'm still here. But it looks like our mate in Stoke-on-Trent's got very cold and frozen.
Well, you see, this is what happens. I'm hoping that he will return the mum. We're talking about Prince Andrew, and his guy is going to come back. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Let's go on to global warming then. Italy may have recorded Europe's hottest temperature on record since records began. 48.8 in Europe.
Yeah, frightening, isn't it?
It's totally frightening. I mean, if that ever came across to England, oh no, you couldn't. We're not built to live in those temperatures. Yeah,
I don't think the Italians are built to live in those temperatures either.
No,
they're used to a higher average temperature than we are, but flipping heck, 48.8.
That's definitely. And the wildfires in Greece and Turkey keeping going, fed by the hot weather.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all part of a bigger picture. Wildfires in America as well. I'm not sure about Canada, in actual fact. But this is being taken as an indication that global warming is already a reality. And in fact, we had the report out this week that said that by 2030, we're going to have real problems unless we do something now. It's still not too late to do something, and to keep the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees. But there was a photo published yesterday in one of the papers of London, and basically what would happen to the River Thames and the areas around it, and the River Thames just goes from there, just goes whoosh, and all the areas many areas along the River Thames would be flooded permanently. So COP26 takes place this year, doesn't it? We're hosting it.
Yeah.
Up in Scotland, and let's hope they do come up with some plans. That the problem, though, right? Okay, let's just go.
Excuse me.
The problem with all this sort of fighting global warming is that it's fine for Brits to do it, it's fine for Europe to do it, but unless America, China, and India join in, it ain't going to work. Right?
Yeah.
Because those are three. We're no longer a major industrial nation. We're more commerce and industry. But China and India and the States are the ones who are actually burning all the fossil fuels. And it affects the rest of the world. But of course, they're economic powerhouses. They're making money from doing it, and money talks louder than common sense sometimes. Yeah. Okay. All right, I think Stephen's. What's the phrase I want to use? Stephen may be back, but I think he has in fact legged it. He was only going to be with us for half an hour. It looks like he managed to do 11 minutes. So it's to John and I. Right, okay.
Back to the good old days.
Yeah, that's true. That's how we started 6.5 years ago, over 6.5 years ago.
On Blab, hence the name Blabbing for Britain.
Indeed.
It also means to talk in the UK.
It does. Right, okay. Now, education in the UK is a big thing this week. We had two A-level results, which are exams not taken when you're 18, and O-level results, which are exams not taken when you're 16. The first set decide whether you actually go into further education. Well, the first set decide whether you go to university or not, and which university, and the first set decide whether you actually go into sixth form and carry on studying rather than going to work. Now, obviously, there have been no exams. There were no exams last year, no exams this year. It's all done on term work and the judgment of your own teachers and staff at your school. And they have a body which oversees and makes sure that one school doesn't mark too much in favour of their own pupils. They try to keep a level playing field. But having said that, it has been said that the results today of the A-levels for 16-year-olds will show a marked increase in terms of the qualifications that our young people have got. And we say, welcome back, Stephen. Hello. Right, okay. We are talking about the O-level and A-level results. The O-levels results are due out today, Stephen.
Yeah. I must admit, it's been a long time since I was at school. And I think that I hear them saying that universities and employers are up in arms or concerned about the grade inflation. But, you know, it's only a point in time, isn't it, as to what it's like a snapshot of how you're doing it in your education. You know, and there's such a thing as lifelong learning. So, is it how important is the fact that this year a candidate who was educated in 2021 versus a candidate in educated in any other year. They're not stupid in that, you know, they don't understand we've had COVID and it's a different method of marking. So it's probably just a Daily Mail wind up.
Okay. We do have a situation where universities have a finite number of places, limited primarily by the size of the premises and the accommodation around, which is why the University of Leeds is offering students 10,000 and free accommodation not to go there this year.
That's for being a doctor, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, John.
Medical studies.
Right. They can only take so many, and they're oversubscribed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that just for medical degrees?
I believe it's for medical studies only.
Interesting.
I may have misread it, but that was
no.
Here's some figures on the GCSE results. They haven't been called O levels for a very long time.
I'm quite happy to call them O levels.
Yeah, well, that's what they were when I did them. Top grades, 7 A's and above, rose by 2.7% to 28.9, while grades 4 C's and above, seen as good passes, rose 0.8% to 76.3%. Not the world's giant leap for the average, is it? 0.8%.
No. Okay.
Isn't Keir Starmer demanding the resignation of that Gavin Williamson?
He is, yes.
The total incompetence. Doesn't even remember how many A levels he got.
And basically taking him individual government ministers, or some are shooting themselves in the foot. That's happened recently.
Sorry, it's law.
Sorry,
we're in a
strange. Sorry, we're in a strange time.
Law, not medicine, that the University of Leeds are offering deferment for.
Bloody hell. All you need is a book.
Okay.
Sorry, Stephen. I stopped you.
Okay. No, it's fine. I'm just saying that it's August and our parliamentarians are on holiday here, there, and everywhere, and we don't know who's running the government. Mind you, do we know what happens? Either 11 months. Okay. Peter's not here. Go for it.
It's all going very well, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the supermarket shelves at Morrison's, basically what they've started to do is they know they're running out of stock, but they've pulled the stock to the front of the shelf. So as you're walking down the food aisles, it looks like every shelf is stacked. And they've got they've got somebody going around doing that, continually pulling the remaining goods to the front. So it looks like it's well stocked. In our Morrison's, it's not. There are holes everywhere.
I must admit that there's a Tesco local type thing called low cost.
Yeah.
And it's the sort of corner shopper from the olden days, and lots of stuff missing. So I mean, it is. Well, yeah, it's just another benefit of not being in the EU, I think.
John, how are your supermarkets?
I haven't. To be honest with you, I mainly shop at the 2 German supermarkets, and to date, I haven't really seen any empty shelves, except for yesterday. There was no water in Lidl, but apparently it was because the truck bringing it had broken down. So,
okay, we're in for some hot weather. I thought for a moment that people are actually buying the water in anticipation
Well,
having.
I've got to be honest, I've bought more water lately than I would normally. So I've bought 2 cases of 12
Yeah.
small bottles. Normally we just buy the big 2 litres, but the idea was then that you could take a small bottle down the garden allotment or stick a couple of them in your car.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm responsible for the shortage.
Congratulations, you've ruined the economy, John. Peter will be proud of you.
Okay.
He failed to show me any dolphins yesterday, Peter, so it's a letdown.
It was a good broadcast yesterday. I know
It was quite good, yeah.
It was
But
good.
he still didn't keep his promise of showing me some dolphins.
No, we saw Peter's new van several times in the car park.
Oh, look, here's a van with Aberkil written on the side. I wonder who's that belong.
He did take us on a tour of the battery at the top of the hill, and then he went down the hill, and it was very good, very informative. Yeah. Anyway, back to the main story, which is Operation Brock, which is basically closing down the M20, having large lorry car parks, is going to stay. This is a legal thing. You can't disobey the traffic police when they tell you to go to the big car park. It's going to stay in case we have more logistics problems in the future. So they're keeping that regulation. Yeah. Have you noticed people behaving any differently since the COVID regulations changed?
Hardly anybody's wearing a mask in Birmingham anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't go out very much, and we wear masks. And to be honest, I'd say 90% of everybody we meet, who are in Tesco's or Aldi or Cobb or whatever, they're following the not so much the social distancing thing, but certainly the masks.
Yeah, I'd say it's about around here. It's about 50-50. The supermarkets have said you can't come in if you don't wear a mask. Well, yes, they suggested that. Okay. All right, so we've covered the heat. We've covered that. I think we're going through the news at a rate of knots. Anything
That's
that
how we rock and roll. Have you seen that there's rogue operators in the COVID testing space? Because people are buying these Johnson variant PCR kits.
Yeah.
And they're being conned left, right, and centre. At the end, Heathrow somebody spent 500 million quid on PCR tests, and they're not around. It looks as if, from this headline, it says air passengers are fleeced by rogue operators as PCR kits fail to arrive. This is the Guardian.
Yeah.
And whenever there's a crisis, some chance is going to make a lot of cash, aren't they? They really are.
Indeed.
Don't even have to be called Cameron.
That's true. Well, the latest Cameron story is that he proposed something to one of our ministers. Go and speak at this gig because I'm working for these people.
He's such a crook. They're all crooks.
Yeah. They're all in chasing the dollar.
Yeah.
As soon as they're out of office, they chase the dollar, and it doesn't matter where they work or what they do, as long as they're making money.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you not think that Johnson is just a mini-me Trump, and that the Conservatives are just a poodly type Republican Party? There must be 20 different ways you can sort of slice that up. You know, the corruption in lying to the Queen, proroguing Parliament when he wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
The lies. Remember that Trump was said to have lied however many thousands of times, and there's on Twitter there's a guy called Peter Stefanovich who's got a video on his feed of Johnson lying in Parliament, saying 20 times, and Stefanovic responds to each of those lies within the video.
Mm-hmm.
It's been watched nearly 31 million times.
Yeah.
And the way in which he's keeping it alive is that the BBC won't recognize or talk about the fact that a YouTube video has been watched 31 million times by the British public watching Johnson lie. And instead of having an article a few moments about that, they talk about the fact that, you know, a guy has a shed or a dog's eating potatoes. And the BBC just won't acknowledge it. And it's actually it's such an interesting case in communications, you know, how they're not managing what's going on. And it reminds me of have you heard of the Lincoln Project?
Rings a faint bell, Stephen.
In America, there's a group of ex-Republican fixers, for want of a better word, who created something called Project Lincoln, the Lincoln Project. And they basically were quite a bit, they were very involved in getting rid of Trump, because they did these adverts and they got under his skin and they got into his mind, and he didn't like it at all. Well, there's another one called the Churchill Project on Twitter in the UK, and they're doing exactly the same thing, putting out ads explaining all of the corruption that's coming out of the current Tory government. And again, it really is about comms. And in the US, people are saying, well, why aren't the Democrats doing this sort of stuff? Because it's very effective. And in the UK, I keep on tweeting at Angela Rayner, saying, why aren't you doing what the Lincoln Project boys do? Why aren't you doing really good ads and good comms? Because there's such a lot of targets, you know, these charlatans. There's such a lot of opportunities to point out how horrible they are. But we'll just see. Is it 2 years to the next election? 2.5
3.
years?
I think it's 3 before we get a chance again. And by that, but no, you see, in 3 years' time, we've got a choice. We've got a choice between, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it, Lib Dems, Labour, old Conservatives and new Conservatives. Now, the new Conservatives are nothing to do with anything that's happened in the last 5 years. Okay? We are a new party. We are not the old that's where we'll be. We're telling lies again. We're telling lies. We're telling lies again, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, that's how Boris got it. Boris got in. He said,
"Oh yeah, good. Are you serious about the new Conservatives?"
No, I'm just doing a basically a what if.
Oh, okay.
At the next election, the Conservatives actually pretend that everything that's happened in the last 5 years is nothing to do with them whatsoever, and they wouldn't touch those people with a barge pole. However, there's a new party with new policies, and we're gonna sort everything out. These people who've been in the last 5 years didn't know what they were doing. Our new set of people do. Please trust us, and somebody will buy it.
With the use of we, us two thought you were going to be the leader of this new.
No, not with Conservative values. That ain't going to happen, John. Okay, let's go to Corinda and take a question from Corinda. I'm trying to stopping that. I'm trying to get back to a question that was asked a moment ago.
31 what?
I have no idea. This is the question, John.
There will not be a 4 p.m. broadcast. I'm going to the zoo. Okay.
John is going to the zoo today.
Okay, then.
You could broadcast from the zoo, John.
Oh, it's 10:30.
Wow.
I have to be off, I'm afraid, and I will see you.
Cheers, Stephen.
I'm here. I'll be here next week, but then I'm off for 2 weeks. So.
Right, we'll plan accordingly. As long as
you're
here for stress.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
See you. We want to be here.
Right, over to Corinda again. Sorry to change the topic, Stephen. I took a risk yesterday. I play music on LinkedIn. I didn't get a warning.
Getting away with something once doesn't mean anything.
The only thing that can happen if you play music on a live broadcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere, YouTube, is that somebody will call you out for it. And even if LinkedIn don't notice, somebody will tell LinkedIn all about it, and you could lose your ability to broadcast live to LinkedIn. It's not a good idea. I mean, we've fought hard. Everybody's fought hard to go live on LinkedIn. To actually throw it away for a piece of music is just...
It's not worth it.
I was going to say something. I'll say silly, shall I? That's probably a good idea. Corinda, don't play music anywhere. I know you can see people doing it. They will get caught and they will lose their accounts. They will lose their right to broadcast. It is just simply not worth it. There is no way around it. This is not people checking you. This is computer program running on all these websites, checking for music, and it checks it against a catalogue of music. If the music you play is in the catalogue, you get it. Well, oh, right. Okay. Okay. All right. What about the Labour government?
No chance. There's your answer.
That's basically, that's but a faint memory at the moment, Corinda, having a Labour government. Lib Dems have been in power since Labour were in power, which is turn up for the books. You've not asked me about this picture next to us, John.
Well, I'm assuming this is your Locks walk.
All right, okay. I can know what it is then. Okay. Well, if we go quiet, I'll play a few minutes of the Locks walk.
What about the FTSE 100?
What about the FTSE 100?
It broke the 7,200 barrier yesterday, which is the highest it's been since February 2020, which was immediately prior to the COVID disaster, shall we call it.
Which means the stock market is happy with the way things are going from a finance point of view.
It's gone down a little bit today, but it only dropped just under 7,200. It hit 7,210 yesterday. That's biggest effect of that will be on people's pension pots.
Well, yeah, that's a good thing.
Oh, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm hoping mine are going to get better before I decide to retire. I'm not going to retire, but you take the pensions.
Yeah. That's the thing. We've got to stay active, and if you're active, you must well be working. So, I think retiring is no longer an option, and we basically carry on.
I certainly couldn't live on the state pension of £153 a week. That's for sure.
Indeed. Right. So we've got Corinda's comments. I'm just trying to find something we've not talked about. Okay, and yes, the pingdemic ended for anybody who's been double vaccinated, which is good news because it was getting ridiculous, wasn't it? It was affecting every sector of business. People were isolating when, well, as we know from this, there was no need to self-isolate. So the number of people in self-isolation will effectively... Right. Okay. Now, staying with that, the scrapping of the COVID rules, which was only a couple of weeks ago, only 20%, fewer than 20% of city workers have gone back to the office. Yeah. There are some places where it's higher than that, but Birmingham, for example, only 9% of Birmingham city workers have gone back to the office. Which just shows people that have found a new way of working. They don't need, apart from those who need to physically be there, if your work can be done remotely, then people want to continue doing that. And allied to that, basically the big players, Google, etc., are actually going to pay people less if they work from home.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
You work from home, you're going to get less money.
Which is because I mean, you're actually paying, if you're working from home, you're paying the office costs. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
paying for your desk, you're paying for the lighting, you're paying for electricity, it's your internet. I think you should get a rise. They should close the whole office down, move to smaller premises, and those who want to work in the office can do, and those who don't get a bonus for actually
I think the
working.
biggest problem is how do they dispose of the offices? Yeah, because in many cases, the Googles and the Apples of this world, where they're giant places, have actually custom built them and own them outright.
Yes, and that is a slight problem. I mean, yeah, if you've got a surplus of office accommodation, it's not the best time to actually sell it. But I can't see now a good reason for people who want to go back to work. I mean, talking to the people that I know, they said, no, I don't need to. I don't need to be in the office. I can do what I do from home. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Zoom gives you group conferences, so you don't all need to meet up in the boardroom. You can do, you could probably, the other thing that's not been highlighted here is that you are probably more efficient going to a Zoom meeting than you are going to a boardroom meeting. Because a Zoom meeting or the like is actually focused on the topics. It has an agenda. You go through the agenda. There are no distractions. There are no phone calls. You don't get called away. So meeting online is more efficient than actually meeting in real life. It's not the same, obviously, from a human point of view. It's good to get together with colleagues. I'm not decrying that, but in terms of efficiency and cost, and well, it just seems that online is the way to be. Okay, all right. I'm off my hobby horse now. Okay, should we talk about Lionel?
sorry.
Lionel. We call him Lionel.
Oh, I wonder what the heck you were going on about, Leonel.
He's actually the pronunciation of his name is not Lionel.
It's Leah now. Oh, right. Okay.
Okay.
Is that, is Argentinian, is he? What do they speak in Argentine, language-wise?
Spanish.
So it's Spanish, is it? But
Yeah.
it's South American Spanish, because I've also learned that South American Portuguese is not the same as European Portuguese.
The Brazilians have got their own way and got far more people in Portugal, so they're allowed to do what they want.
Yeah.
Mr. Messi was at Barcelona for 23 years, 20, I think, yeah, 20 odd years.
And then goodbye.
Yeah, no, goodbye. Not because he didn't want to go. Barcelona didn't want him to go, but the
money
league,
to go, yeah.
the league had a set of rules which said clubs can only spend so much money on players' wages, and you can't go above that. Now, when you can have 5 other players or Messi, what do you do?
Yeah, well, it makes sense. It's a bit like Villa taking the 100 million because they've replaced him with what looks like it will shortly be 5 players.
Yeah.
And it gives them strength in depth that they didn't have before. And also, he only paid an average of 65% of the matches, Grealish. Yeah. So, makes sense to a lot of people.
Indeed. Anyway, Lionel Messi, as we'll call him, has gone, because then we all understand, gone to PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, and he says that they are going to win the Champions League. Now, that's quite a bold prediction. PSG are a good team, but whether they can win the Champions League or not, we'll have to wait and see. But
yeah,
that's
21 years, 13 to 34.
Yeah. And his scoring, right? Is he actually there, John? He played 672 games and scored 500 and some goals.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. 778 games, 672 goals.
Yeah, quite an amazing record.
35 trophies.
Okay. Now, All right, just to confirm, we just talked about Google going to cut the pay of staff who work from home.
Not in the Europe though. That's only a
No,
US.
indeed.
Our staffing laws are a lot stricter than they are in the US. European law.
Yeah, that's true. I just need to remove that. Okay. Now, because we've not had the banter between Stephen and Peter, we've run out of questions because we've been answering the questions, not going off on rants. So that's the difference. We actually do talk about all the talking points of the news. Or anything, John, that we should be.
I see this morning that Eddie Howe, one-time Burnley manager, is the favourite to replace Ralph Hutton, however you pronounce his surname, at Southampton.
Oh, right, okay.
The season actually started, and already they're getting rid of a manager who hasn't even had kick-off yet. And I've got the echo again.
You got an echo again?
Yeah.
I don't hear an echo.
Oh, I do. I hear myself twice.
Okay.
Shall I come back and come back in?
Yeah, if you would. Okay, waiting for John to go. Right, the show's all mine. I'm taking over. This is Blabbing for Britain, episode 290. John's down below. I can hear him. Hopefully he doesn't have an echo this time. I'm just filling in until John returns. Okay. Yes, I know you're back. I'm just going to take myself off full screen.
Hello. 1, 2, 3. No echo now.
Right. Okay. This is live video. Things are going to go wrong. I mean, I've got the problem when I play a video, I forget to unmute myself afterwards, which is okay if you're on Facebook and YouTube. But if you're on Amazon Live, it causes a problem. And Amazon Live says if it's been silent for 7 or 8 minutes, it says just a minute. You have technical problems. We're stopping your broadcast.
Oh, I notice I have an extra orange button today that says upgrade now. In Be.Live.
Right. Okay. Well, it's up to you. I mean, you keep reminding us you've not spent a red cent in 6 years on live broadcasting. You have a feeling if you press the upgrade now button, you'd be invited to sign up.
I was wondering if it just meant that was a newer version.
There's a new version most weeks. We just don't hear about it. So it's basically upgrade button.
Well, we'll have a play afterwards.
Upgrade now.
It was not going to get any.
If it did it say upgrade now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. I've got the same one in my studio, and I'm on the top level of subscription. I think it appears everywhere now. And if you were to press it, then it would take you over, and it would say, "John Upton, you have been broadcasting for 6 years, and you've not paid a penny. Now's the time." Right. Okay.
Why do I need to pay when I've got a friend over there, or is he over there, whichever way he is?
Yeah.
Who does
Indeed.
it on?
Indeed. I'm happy to host. Right. Well, we've actually been. Oh, wait a minute! I've found one. Rewind. Now, I misunderstood this. I want to see if you understand it first, John, before we actually go and talk about it. Rewilding 5% of England could create 20,000 rural jobs. Now, that sounds like a good headline to me. It looks like a positive headline. What do you understand? And I got it wrong. So what do you understand by the word
rewilding? As I understand, is returning an area of land back to its original pre-occupation, for want of a better word, state.
That's exactly what I thought too. And we're returning green pasture, or we're returning everything back to the wild. We're rewilding it. We're making sure, like we've got wild sections of our garden, we're rewilding the countryside so that you've got bee-friendly flowers everywhere you go. Before I go on to what it actually means, and Chris has got the right. Okay, you don't need to upgrade, Chris. Well, you don't need to upgrade. You could upgrade. Okay. Now back to where were we? We were here. Okay. No.
Your definition of rewilding and mine.
Is the same as yours. I got 0 point. You got 0.2, because rewilding in this sense means the reintroduction of old skills into the countryside. So that's where we get the 20,000 jobs, because we're actually employing things to learn crafts of days gone by and to restore the countryside by learning to dry stone wall or whatever it happens to be, or crofting. Yeah. So bring all the old skills back, so that part of the UK can become effectively a living museum.
Well, my definition was based on listening to the Archers, where there is a ongoing rewilding project.
You see, I don't do that. Right. Okay. Well, obviously it has two meanings then, John. One to the Guardian and one to the general populace. Whoever wrote the headline should have written "Bring back the old days." 5% to England. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we'd have understood it. But I put I'm totally in favour of any project which actually enriches countryside life. So it's got my vote. If there was any, this is not a political party proposing it. This is a think tank idea. Some ideas are just flown up the flagpole to see if they fly. And we'll see what happens to that one. But we're in the silly season in the UK. It used to be the real silly season when we used to watch BBC and ITV news on a regular basis, which is within living memory. In that there used to be no news, so they used to make up news. There was no serious news because Parliament's on holiday. It's a silly season for newspapers and for the television. But there's not been too much silly stuff around recently.
Can you remember when you last bought a newspaper?
A printed newspaper.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Went into a shop and bought, a thing that you did this with, yeah?
I probably bought the Times on a Saturday about 3 months ago. Now, in my defence, I have to explain that when we buy a newspaper, first of all we read it, and then it's recycled for the chickens. So I've got to buy a paper every so often.
Well, you see, one of the noticeable things that's getting me into trouble these days is that when I trim my beard, I used to stick a newspaper over the basin. Yeah. Because we ain't had a newspaper in the house for yonks. We don't even get a free newspaper anymore. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I put a towel over it, and then I get into trouble because there's little hairs in the towel, Even if I go outside
John, they'll never come out. Washing them won't help. They're in there forever. Oh dear. Let's go over to Chris. All right. So Chris, okay. Watch this space, Chris. You never know what's going to happen later this year. And there's no echo. The echo's gone. Stephen went.
There was an echo for me. Anyway,
yeah.
I hear myself 3 times, so, but it's not there anymore.
Okay. I'm just going to bring this up on screen. I'm not going to press any buttons. Okay, Corinda, this is a video that I made, and it is in actual fact, since it's a music. Okay. I am never. Sorry?
You can't play it then if it's music.
I can't.
We might get banned.
Yeah, if I hit that button now, then we'd be taken off air on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and all I have to do is press that one button. Now, it's just not worth it to play music on a live broadcast. because you're up against the AI. That will find out. It certainly noticed this tune if we were to play it. So even though it's easy, even though I can press that play button and you would instantly recognize it, and name that tune, John. Remember that as a show?
Yeah.
Well, if we played Name That Tune, I played this, you would get this song in 3 chords, I do assure you. Right, so I'm going to take Temptation out of the way and remove it from screen. And I think I've actually removed it from a catalogue, which is not a bad idea, as I can't play it at the moment. That's safe and done.
So
Did you see?
Oh, sorry, go on, Steve.
Yeah, carry on. No, okay.
I was going to say, Corinda, you said you got a question. We've got a bit of time left. Ask us. We'll see if we can answer it.
If you're still here, Corinda, please do ask your question now, because John
He's gone to the zoo today.
We're all going to the zoo tomorrow is the song, or the original version of the song. I mean,
yeah,
the song can have many versions. Okay, so where else can we go? Right, the next show, we're taking the day off tomorrow, Angelica and I.
Oh, good.
And we're going to Avebury. Stone Circle.
You're going to see the Stones. They're not rolling.
We're going to the Stones. Exactly so. We're going to Avebury. What we're actually going to do, take a message from Chris. Oh, he's live. Okay, that explains why it's quiet. Okay. Thank you, Chris. What we're going to do is, have you heard of the Ridgeway?
I've heard that there is something above it, but I've never been. So
right, the Ridgeway is a national walking route which goes south to north or north to south.
Have you walked along it before?
We have, yes.
Yeah, because I'm sure I remember you mentioning it in the past.
Yeah, basically, have you heard of Silbury Hill? No. Silbury Hill, Silbury Hill.
Isn't that the one in the song that everybody thinks is Salisbury Hill, but isn't?
That's probably it. Yeah, Silbury Hill is a man-made mound, which is huge, goes up to the sky, and it is close to the Ridgeway, and it's close to Avebury, and nobody knows why it was built. They have gone in the top and they've excavated down, and they've not found anything. There's nothing in there. It wasn't a burial place. It wasn't a place to store riches. There are no hidden rooms inside. It's just earth, and we don't know why it was piled so high in the sky. You used to, we're only going back sort of just 9.5 years. You used to be able to walk to the top, yeah, and you circuit. Obviously, you didn't go straight up. You wouldn't go straight up the hill. You go on a circular route around the edge and keep winding and winding and winding, and get to the top. No, you can't. You're not allowed to climb it. So it's totally protected now. Nobody can actually. Have you got a picture of it, John?
No.
You found? Oh, right. Okay. It's totally protected, but that's near to Avebury, and next to Silbury Hill is the Ridgeway, and the Ridgeway is a long, it's like the Pennine Way, yeah, which runs up north. This is the Ridgeway, which actually runs Midlands to south, and we start off there, park up there, and then walk across the fields down to Avebury and the cricket pitch, and then you actually inside the stone circle, and the stone circle at Avebury has a village inside it. It was so big, it's bigger than Stonehenge. It's not taller than Stonehenge, but it's bigger than Stonehenge, and was built around the same time. So we'll be going there, and I'm going there with my mobile camera to actually make a little film about it.
Oh, right. I haven't been to there or Stonehenge.
You've not been to? Oh, well, let's put that right. Next time you're down here, you've got to go.
Yeah.
This is one of the wonders of the world, John. It's worth one visit. Just the when you actually just walk over you've walked half a mile, you've not seen a thing, and suddenly you come over the hill and it's there in the distance, and it keeps getting closer and closer and closer until you're actually just outside the stone circle. There's something mystical about it. Definitely. Can feel it. Okay, so that's not too bad. So, sorry, I was saying the next show is on Monday. It's Nick Wood and I at 3 p.m. in the UK, when we'll be talking all about technology and pushing the boundaries and what we can do. Because John's going to the zoo, I'm live at 4 o'clock. I can't decide whether to go live at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. I will do between now and then. I'm live either at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock on Amazon Live, and it's lights, camera, action, and we're talking about how to broadcast your website. I'm totally enjoying my Amazon Live broadcasts, and there's no place like it. There is no place like Amazon Live. You don't know who's watching. You get comments from Chris and Corinda, but you don't get any comments. People come to watch, and what they're actually doing is they're watching whilst they're surfing Amazon, and they're buying things, and I quite love it. It's when they buy things, I get commission. So
Right.
for 24 hours afterwards, everything that they buy, I get commission on.
All right.
Okay, and I'm pretty close. I've been going for 4 weeks to get started. I had to buy. Just a minute. To get started, I had to. Okay. To get started, I had to buy an iPad. Okay, which I did.
Right.
In a week's time, I was paid for the iPad.
All right.
That's how, basically, broadcasting for a month, will have paid for an iPad. Okay. Are you going to ask me about this gadget growing out of my head?
Not totally sure what it is.
That's why you should be asking about it.
What is the gadget behind your head, Stephen?
Thank you. I'm glad you asked. I've got the iPad.
It's an iPad stand, isn't it?
It is. You're quite right. You got there before I actually showed you. This is an iPad stand, and it takes your iPad in its vice-like grip, and it extends to 6 foot. So I can actually use the iPad for broadcasting on Be.Live mobile now, anywhere that's in Wi-Fi range, which I think is quite good. So that's the second use of my iPad, which I'm happy about. I did download the app. Oh, wait a minute. Corinda's back. He's finished his broadcast.
What happens to Owen?
Right. Several years ago, Owen Emsath was diagnosed with cancer. And at the time, it was said to be, well, it was a very bad time for Owen and his wife and family. And 5 years ago, he went into remission, didn't recover. I mean, you can't recover from cancer. He went into remission, but now he was told last October that he had 2 years to live because the cancer had resurfaced. Now, Owen is a gentleman, a great broadcaster, and he also never says he will never give up. So he's trying, not only he's doing chemo, which his doctor advised him to do, but also he's doing alternative therapy in order to increase his chance of survival. That means that he needs, because he's in the US, he needs money to do that, because every time he goes to see a doctor, it costs money. There's no national health service in the USA. So a fund has been set up by his wife to raise $150,000 for his medical care and to extend his life. Basically, that's why this is being done, to extend Owen's life. I will put a link on to the GoFundMe page if you want to go and make a donation. The target is 150,000. Over the last 10 days, there have been broadcasts on Owen, without Owen knowing, broadcasts have got together and broadcast live on Facebook and YouTube. And they have helped increase the amount of donations actually made. The donations now stands at just over $100,000 out of $150,000. So it's basically everyone wants to help Owen and getting together to actually give him a chance of defying the odds. And actually, I mean, he's using methods which have been used by people successfully before. So wish Owen well, and wish that everything that he's trying actually just simply works. Okay, so thank you for the question, Corinne.
The elder of my two sisters, she sadly passed away a few years back, four years back. She was given 3 to 9 months and lasted 8.5 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, it can help doing things.
Okay.
She lived in Canada, by the way. So she was looked after by the Canadian equivalent of our national health.
Okay. So our thoughts are with Owen.
On the subject of fundraising, did you see the GoFundMe for the lifeboat thing to get back at Mr. Farage, saying that they were a taxi service for what is the word? Illegal migrants, I think is the word.
Yeah.
It's now at £118,000.
Just he's his own worst enemy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Right, shall we? It's over to you, John.
Oh gosh, it's 11:03. Blimey.
The only time today.
We were thinking we weren't going to last till 11, and now we've overrun. So it's goodbye from him. It's goodbye from me, and at least 2 of us should see you again next week.
Okay, take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Brenda.